I was excited to see that the Viking walking foot is actually included with the Husqvarna Viking Designer Brilliance 80. So I'm going to show you actually how to put it on. It came with a foot, a separate foot, and also 2 seam guides that will allow you to, say, follow 2 inches apart or 3 inches. You can set those. So I'm going to show you first how to attach the walking foot to the machine. You're going to need a screwdriver that will loosen and remove the complete ankle that we've been kind of snapping the regular presser feet on and off with. You'll need to take the screw completely out. You're going to notice that on a walking foot, there's 2 things you need to line up. Number 1, this part that's like a shape of a C is going to go around the post where the screw will come in. But this part that is also shaped like a C, I guess, needs to go around the needle screw. So often what I'll do is hold the walking foot like this so I can keep this part up and bring that around the needle screw. Without that around there, and if it's left down, then the foot won't walk. That's the part that you need it to actually do. So once you get that screw lined up, tighten it. Let me talk about tightening things. This is going to apply to this screw as well as the screw that you loosen and for your needle. Is when you're using the screwdriver, you need to tighten it enough so it doesn't wiggle loose, but we also need to not over tighten it. So there's a happy medium. So if you're really cranking down and turning this too tight, eventually things will actually stop working, and that is not good. So just kind of find that happy medium. With the feet that are included with the walking foot. So here is what we have. This one that's currently on mine is the open toe foot, so I can see where I'm actually going. And when you see a walking foot actually work, you're going to see these kind of arms near the toes, kind of pulling the fabric through. And as you can see, that is activated by that part that I put around the needle screw. Also, a stitch length, usually a little bit longer. So do a stitch length of 3 or tell the sewing advisor you are working on a woven heavy fabric, and that will automatically lengthen your stitch length. The other thing that you can do with this walking foot is you can use it with any decorative stitch. So if I was to go to a decorative stitch that might be like let's do something like a feather stitch. I'll just pick one here, is that it can handle stitches that go forward and back, no problem. So it can move your fabric in both those directions. All right, so where do these go on? You'll notice that there is a place behind the foot that you'll slide the guide into, and it's tight. The reason it's tight is because you don't want it to move once you have it in place. So for example, if I want to go ahead and sew another row of stitching and not have to mark my fabric, all I need to do is measure how far I want that stitching to be, line up the guide with where I've stitched before, and I'm going to just go back to a straight stitch and just stitch a single line versus a decorative stitch. And then I could just keep on stitching. So it's a great way to echo quilt or do multiple lines in a row. So why both sides? Well, sometimes you need to work from the left, sometimes you need to work from the right. So depending on which one you're doing. Last, let me show you how to change these feet. You don't have to take the walking foot off. They're kind of, I'd almost say magnetic. So as I push down on this toe, they will slide off. I am going to lift the foot up a little bit higher so I can come off. So as you see these little guys, and there are a few more available. So this one is marked with all those wonderful 1/4 inch lines. So if you're sewing binding on, that's a great one because you're usually about a 1/4 inch from the edge. But really all you're going to do is just kind of slide it underneath and then align the little notch openings of the sides. You'll see them, and they just lift up, and then it's on. So that's how easy it is. Of course, I am no zigzagging with this foot. Remember, you can set the stitch width safety so you don't accidentally go zigzagging if you have that particular foot on your walking foot. And remember, your straight stitch throw plate is also censored. So if you were to put this on, same thing, it will make sure that you don't accidentally pick a decorative stitch or a side-to-side stitch that would break your needle. So enjoy the walking foot. It is included with this machine, and there are a few other feet available for it. There's a stitch in the ditch foot, one of my favorites. That's one besides the two that come with it. So those are really the main ones that people use, plus that extra one with a blade right down the middle for stitching in the ditch.